So now we begin the GhanaSIG impact stories. So with this, I'll introduce. So we are going to have GhanaSIG fellows. Okay, so Mr. Solomon Mamata is going to do the introductions, and he will take over from now.
Thank you very much. This is one of the sections that everybody looks up to, and we have some very honorable people among us, and a guest host who is coming from outside, will be coming from the door. So when it is time, you all give a standing ovation for the hosts. So the first is Fosua. She will give more details about herself when she comes. She'll be joining us soon. The next is Joshua. Joshua, please come on stage. The next is Levy. Levy is joining us online. The next person is Mohammed. Mohammed will also be joining online. Then we have Persis. Persis, please come on stage. We have Princess. Princess, please come on stage. Then Samuel. Samuel is also joining us online. And with a standing ovation, I introduce to you the speaker, Kumi. Kumi will be moderating this session. And always we have everything first in GhanaSIG. We try to make always something first. And Kumi is the first ever fellow in training to participate in the fellowship program. So it is a big honor done to her. Kumi, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great honor to be chosen to moderate this session. And it's my first time seeing them here, so I'm very privileged. Okay, so we are come to talk about impact. It's an impact session, right? We want to know their journey when they started through GhanaSIG. So I've created some questions that will be asking them. And then there will be some minutes that I'll take in questions from you guys. So please pay attention. Then when they start, I'll take them. Okay, so please, I'll start with, please, summarize. Or Joshua, sorry. Joshua, I'll start with you. Can you tell us about yourself, your background, your educational background, your profession, what you are doing currently? Yes.
Sure. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be back. And don't mind the chicks. You should see the picture I applied to the program with. But that one, when we came, they decided to stuff my chicks with a lot of chicken. But I'm Joshua Tetteh Ayayi. I am social entrepreneur, public speaker, climate change advocate, and youth developer, and an all-around fine boy. For education, I am a GSS leaver. Yes, I couldn't attend the senior high school due to financial situations. And then I decided to, self-develop myself. And so after reading a lot of PDFs online, those days we didn't have online learning portals. You just go and download PDFs and learn. And then I applied to several fellowships. One of them was Ayayi in 2018. And then in 2021, and during my research, I think I was just browsing Facebook when I saw the application to the GhanaSIG. And then after going to read about what internet governance was, I applied and I got selected. And so here I am.
Please, what cohorts are you? Which cohort?
Yes, the second cohort, 2021.
My name is Princess Tetteh. So I read political science in Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. I'm a development practitioner. So anything gender, anything youth activism, climate change, governance, I'm always there. And this internet governance thing, the opportunity was actually shared to me by Joshua, because we work together. Yes. And during the process, it was very hectic for me because I have to combine a lot of things. And on the other side, I have an organization called Love Aid Foundation, and I'm the executive director. So managing all those responsibilities and attaching this aspect to it was quite very tiring and stressful. But the motivation from Boss Raymond, always checking in. Lovia, are you doing the course? Are you taking it serious? And the motivation and the inspiration from other people on the platform, people tell you, oh, they are done studying, people are clocking their marks. So it motivates you to also ensure that you get yours done. And this is the kind of environment you actually need to thrive in. So,
Princess, don't worry, we'll get there.
yeah.
Question for that. Please.
Okay.
Introduction. What you did, your background, and what you're currently doing, your profession now.
Okay. Persis Yentumi. I'm a biomedical scientist, and I've just been trained to be, or I can say, a data analyst now. Coming into internet governance, I was introduced to internet governance by my mentor, Abraham Fifi Selbin. He sent me the link one time and I was like, I'm a science student. I have nothing to do with internet governance. And he said, oh, it's open to everyone and it's not necessarily people in the IT background that have a say in the internet governance space, because even as an end user, I can still contribute to it. So I just took the chance and then came into it. And I can say that is the beginning of my tech journey. I was last year's cohort and I was the course rep. Yeah.
Joshua, so I'll come back to you.
Yeah, sure.
It seems you were taking online course and everything. So is it fair to say when before you applied to the GhanaSIG program, you had already knew about it? Do you know ICANN, what they were doing?
In fact, it was my first time. It was my first time getting into the world of internet governance. I never knew something like that existed. So, like the social media algorithms work based on what you search for. So I just logged on to Facebook and this was this fellowship, internet governance. First thing was 3-hour research and then followed by application. I even didn't know that I would be selected. Yeah.
Please, can I know your name? Sorry.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon. Oh, please, I'm shy here.
Oh, no, it's not because I'm shy though, but that's how my voice is. So, hey. Okay. I'm Fosua Josephine.
Let's be steady. Okay.
I'm Fosua Josephine. I think Mr. Raymond introduced me earlier. I'm a pediatric nurse, and then I'm currently doing my national service at Pantine Hospital.
Okay.
Anything else?
So, is it fair to say you didn't know anything about ICANN prior to applying?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so Simon was the one that pushed you to apply. He was the motivation.
No. I was trying to say that when the session started, he introduced me because I was online and then I was following. But then talking about who introduced me to the whole thing, Madam Karimalo. She's like, okay, so
My people, if you clap small, then you rest small. Okay, so you can go.
so
Okay, what's up, please? Let's go.
all right, so I happen to how do I even say? I happen to overhear her conversations during her time of being a fellow in training. And then I was hearing I can. Actually, I didn't know what ICANN meant. So I thought it was a slogan or some acronym for, like, you see,
Yeah.
she can, we can, that kind of thing. So when I heard ICANN, I thought it was something like, yes, I can. Yeah. I thought it was something like that. So until I really got into it when I applied. She shared the link, and then I applied, and fortunately I was picked. I got to know that it was a whole new environment too.
Okay.
So I had no knowledge of what it was before.
Levy, please, if you can hear me, can we also hear? Tell us about
Yes,
yourself.
I can hear.
Okay. Tell us about yourself, what you do professionally, if you're also married, if you're single.
Okay, it's an interesting question. My Levy Syanseke, Internet Society Zambia chapter president, or founding president rather, let me put it that way. What do I do? I'm a fashion entrepreneur. My background, university, I did mass communication. Everything I do is really unrelated. How did I come across the GhanaSIG? Through Raymond, ICANN 75 in Malaysia. I was sharing my story on how I was trying to think of studying the Zambia School on Internet Governance. And that's how our conversation started, and it introduced me to EGIGFA and the Ghana School on Internet Governance. And I did a bit of research after we had the conversation, which I think I haven't shared with him, on how the past fellows from the GhanaSIG were of impact. And I wanted to know how I can be of impact myself, but also build a Zambia School on Internet Governance that has a certain level of impact as well in the internet governance landscape. And that's how I applied when the core opened, of course, with a lot of pushing from Raymond for me to actually make it all the way. And so that's how my journey has been. So being part of the Internet Society, I 2019. But the GhanaSIG, I think, brought a whole new space and impact for me specifically, because it opened me up to the broader internet governance ecosystem, which I think that's how my journey has been. So since it's been an interesting journey,
Okay.
and I think I've made more impact since the GhanaSIG.
Right. Okay, Samuel.
Okay, thank you. Levy, that is a good thought to share. I got my first email address in 1999. And so a cousin who is also one of the executives of EGIGFA, that is Jacob, posted on his WhatsApp status that there was this internet program for internet lovers. And when I saw it, I was so excited. So I put in the application, and then they asked us to complete an online course with ICANN. Believe you me, I did it day and night, even when I was working, because I wanted to be part of the story.
Okay.
And so maybe I saw someone complete his within 2 weeks. I did mine within a week.
Wow.
And from there, I started inviting other friends. That there was this friend who also joined, and today he has kept being a mentor for many others. that is a JB. So I'm a banker by profession, but currently schooling. So I'm out of town. But I would say that with this program and as a fellow, I have been open to many opportunities. And so I'll leave that for further discussion. Yeah.
Okay, so my second question would go to Fosua. So when you were applying during your application process, what was one shocking thing that you knew that GhanaSIG is really the school to be like to join? Because when I was doing my applications, there was a line that said to me that I have to make this application well. Like I have to apply it well, fill the questions, forms and everything. So what was that one thing that you knew?
Okay, I can't recall how the questions were, but then for me it was an opportunity to do something new. Growing up, SHS, I was a science student, so we always, let's say, me, I didn't learn that much though, but then you're always learning so that you pass. University, you're always looking forward to getting good grades and a first class. So for me, I haven't done anything out of my scope.
Okay, so when you confident with your application that you would get in?
I wouldn't say I wasn't too confident though, but then I was positive because I did my checks here and there, my corrections, and then when it came to the part where they ask you about what do you know about the internet governance, actually that was my first time seeing something like that. I went online and then I tried reading on it, put my thoughts together, and I just did it in line with my profession. So that was the approach I used. Yes.
Persis, so I'll ask you, what was your reaction when you got the email that you've been selected?
I was happy. I was happy because I think I received the link to apply like during the first week it was released. So I started working on the application, and funny enough, the day to the deadline, that was when I submitted the application, because I was always like looking through to see if I had made a mistake, if I had to correct it, what I have to add, what I have to take out, and all of that. And so seeing the email that I was picked, I was very happy. I think at that time I was at work. Yes, I was in my service. So I was at work, and then the guy in the lab, I told him that, oh, I've got it. So because during the application stages, I was telling him that, oh, this is what I'm doing. And he was like, oh, then that's nice. If he knew, he would have applied. Yeah.
Princess, can you also hear your reaction?
What intrigued me was the internet attached to the governance, because I knew something about governance. So I was asking myself, internet governance. And the way Joshua was so enthused about the program, seeing the posts, like some of the jargons when he came back, it's like, what's this? Just like he keeps talking about. So I did go online to see what internet governance was about. And I told him that I'll go in for it. I actually submitted, I think, 2 days to the. So I was like, this thing, Ebefa. But at the end of the day, when he came, he was the first person I announced it. I was so happy because I felt it was a new field to put myself in and see how far I can go with it. Yeah.
Joshua.
Yes. So for me, with my background and everything, I had been trying to enter into policy. And so the fact that I saw internet governance and what my research told me was intriguing. The fact that I could work in that field along the policy lines and make sure that with regards to digital accessibility and youth empowerment and all of these things, you can work along those lines right from the local to the national and then even to the global phase. So that was the motivation.
Okay, so away from that, beginning the first phase, which was the online learning, how did you find the courses?
The online learning there, Charlie. Some will. Some way. I mean, even right now, if you ask me, a lot of the things are still technical to me, and so I would say the motivation not to lose out, and the fear of missing out, because I finished the final week. That was when I submitted, I think, my final 2 or 3 certificates. So it was the fear of missing out on the whole thing. You started something and then you are not going to finish. See this through, Yeah.
Levy, can we also hear you? How was the online period for you, taking the courses? I don't know though. Were you guys doing presentations as well? You can also let us know, how was the feeling like? Did you present for your group? Were you also writing reflections like ours? Yes. Okay.
Okay, the online learning I think for me was fun. It was just I think tricky because of the number of things that I do. Trying to manage my business, the chapter and the school, but it was good. The presentations were fun. I think we set a different record. Persis can confirm, and I think Raymond and a number of people in the room can confirm that our group set a certain record, which was interesting. So for me, I think it was fun, and that was I think Annie's way of engaging. The reflections were interesting in the sense of having to give feedback after the end of the whole learning. So there's an issue of assessment of whether you still recall what you learned from the online icon courses. So for me, I think it was a good way of actually assessing myself if I understood what I was learning from the school. So for me, it was good.
Samuel, can we also hear you?
More than excited. I was part of the first cohort, and that was a fresh start. But if you have facilitators and leaders who are fired up, you see so much fire in Raymond and the other leaders, you realize that you can't fall back. And so it was a learning curve, though I was familiar with governance. The difference between governance and government is that with government, there are leaders and the rest are following. But with governance, anyone can also join in to help. So with the new world of internet and now the conversation is governance, it means I have a stake in it. I have to partake in it. And this one is a bottom-up approach. So great an experience. And to date, that is what I work with.
Okay. Princess.
Interesting enough, our cohorts were having this reading session. So we'll have an online meeting. You read, then Boss Raymond will ask questions. So if you're not paying attention and he grabs you, you know that you are in hot waters. And it was motivating us to always read, to always get informed before we come for class. It was part of the grading system. The online reading, the reflections. If you don't write your reflections, you are not going to the next level. Yeah. So it pushed many of us to always, some of us, we had sleepless nights. I remember one night, there were about 3 courses. I had to use 2 nights to finish them. But Raymond was like, Lovia, how far where have you gotten to? Are you on it? I said, I'm on it. And it was always motivating me. And there was one thing, anytime I wanted to give up and I see Boss Raymond's face, like that imagery, imaginary face, I'm like, hey, where I started from and where I've gotten to, I can't give up now and I have to keep moving. So those are some of the motivations that I got to take me there, yeah.
Actually, same question. So with the courses on I Can Learn, right? Personally, I'm not someone, I like to read a lot. So when you went on there, you were saying that, it's all right, so it's no videos. Well, some part there were videos. How were you able to accommodate that? Or
okay, so I earlier shared I read political science, and it's a course that in a lot of reading. I already love reading already. So reading wasn't part of the problem, but consuming all those documents at a point in time. So the time frame was the issue for me. But at the end of it all, because I enjoyed reading, I just had to take it up and finish it.
Yeah, I mean, when you begin, and the first thing is, you see, the first course is very easy. Getting your first certificate is very easy, and that's when the cockiness comes in. So the funny thing is, I got my first certificate before orientation. Right. And so because of that, I was cocky sitting through the entire thing before I knew when the last week. and that was that. So the motivation had to pull through was there. And the other thing was, look, the technicalities are there. But one thing I told myself, okay, that I can learn is for you forever. You can know all these things. So just try, note some of the GNSOs and then ALAC and all of these things down, pass the tests. Anytime you need to refresh your memory, you can go back and read, right? And so that's just what I did.
Fosua, so how did you manage with it since you are from a different discipline and now learning something entirely different, internet governance, those stuff, yeah?
Okay. I'd like to say that my first impression upon opening the portal was that I'm going to watch videos too. So I was looking forward to watching a lot of videos. Then I was seeing the write-ups and I had to read. I'm like, hey, because it really let me confess that I love doing online courses that video, like, because that one you can rush through, you can even play it, you can increase the play speed and then you can finish. So seeing that I was, let's say, it dampened my spirit a bit, but then the fear of losing out, because I've already started, I'm going through the rigorous process of selection. So why would I have to give up now? So that was what pushed me to continue. Yeah.
Persis, what was your
Well, I was excited because I like to learn new stuff and things away from my program of studying. So I was happy seeing all of that, and I was like, wow, there's an entirely different world out there I wasn't aware of. So I was eager to like really know more about what goes on in there. And I think before our fellowship started, or no, I think a bit after, I'd applied for a PIAG. So I just saw that, wow, let me just continue because I'm hoping my PIAG application goes through.
Okay.
So I was just happy about what I was learning, even though it was a lot and I had like other stuff to do at that time, but the excitement to learn something new just drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Samuel, this question is coming to you. So initially I said something that when I was making my application, there was a line. When I saw it, I was like, let me fasten my seatbelt for this. So it was, do not use ChatGPT to put these answers in. And then later when we're in the online period when it came to the reflections, we were not supposed to use ChatGPT. So how did you manage to write? I want to know, what was your strategies in writing your reflections?
ChatGPT
wasn't
available.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I will frankly,
write yours like
Went raw.
okay, somewhere.
yeah. So like Joshua said, it was raw. You have to answer it hard and clear. And
Okay.
I don't think at that time I even knew about ChatGPT and
Yeah.
Claude or whichever AI tool is available today. But it was difficult and true to it. Learned very hard, passed them without even understanding them. If there is any moment to rehash Raymond's statement of sweet confusion, it was at that time. I read and passed all of them without understanding really, really what they all meant. But I have to confess that through the years, capacity have been built, and now many of the things I read those days are now clearer to me.
Okay. Levy, please, can we have you?
I think for me, my reflections were based on what I learned. ChatGPT, actually, I'm one of the late adopters of ChatGPT because of my partner. I lectured at some point and I was able to spot ChatGPT errors students would use. So I taught myself not to use it if I'm not going to have my own personal input into it. So it was practically raw like everyone else.
Okay, so after 1 month of taking the online courses, what were the new habits you could tell that you've adopted? Did you now like learning more? Did you stick to learning every day? What was the new change that you noticed? Levy, let's go with you.
For me, I think learning with ICANN has continued. I'm still doing some courses because I think there are a number of more courses that are being added. My new habit was wanting to share what I learned. And I've continued, which I should probably mention this to Ray. I haven't sent him an email yet, but he's also coming through to do a session in our Zambia school SIG, which is a third cohort this year.
Okay. Okay, Samuel, I'll come to you again. So moving from the online phase and then coming to the face-to-face session, what were you expecting? And then when you came, what were your expectations met?
My expectations were more than met.
Great.
Yes. So it wasn't just do online and have a ceremony. You do the online and you come and you realize these are people who have walked the talk. They have taken years to also improve themselves in a space you envy. Believe you me, it was from that program that I kept doing one course after the other, all through online programs. And I'm saying that it's never a mistake. It's even more than an opportunity that I least expected, but had. So that is a bit of it. Coming face to face,
okay,
it blew my mind.
Wow, nice. Joshua,
Yes.
I'm changing the question. What was your key takeaway from it? What session did you really like during the face-to-face session, if you can remember?
Oh, negotiations.
Wow.
Yeah, the negotiations. That was my highlight. And also because I am not a technical person. So I tend to lean more on my strengths, which are in communication. So that has to do with the negotiations, the policy reviews, and all of these things. And I remember we were all seated here like this. In fact, we had been grouped into, which I'm sure you have all been grouped. So I was part of the government stakeholder group. And I think at the time, the government stakeholder group, we got a lot of the group sessions. One, because we are government, we whatever you do, we'll still sanction you. and second, because we were a government stakeholder group that was not just looking in for our own interest. We're looking at other people's own interest. So instead of putting our interest out there, we had to wait. So we're over here like this, and then the stakeholder groups were speaking.
The case study they gave you guys.
Yes. So I think it was about the EU. It was about, if I'm not mistaken, data protection. Just anyone can just go to your Whois database and then see you, right? And then know everything about you and where you live, everything, your office. But then, is it right? So if it is not right, how do we protect? And if we are protecting too, how do we ensure that one person does not have the key, keep it in their pockets and say, I am the king? So then, whilst all the stakeholder groups were speaking, I identified a common ground. We had all agreed that we needed protection, but as to how, that was the bone of contention. So I started from the securities, and then worked my way through. And then the final person was the end user, right? Who said he wanted free. And I said, yes, it's true, you want free, but I can also come and kill you just because you want free. So then we all agreed that the best thing to do was to create a proxy so that if each of us wants an information, we ask the proxy. Tell the proxy, I am going to use it for ABC. The proxy allows us to access the information and then monitors how we are using that information. And it was from the government stakeholder group because we were not just looking out for our own interest, we were looking out for the interest of the other stakeholder groups as well.
Your group, or let me say your cohort, came to a decision.
I tell you, yes.
Colleague fellows in change. So today, right?
Yes.
Persis, please. Okay, so let me ask you a different question. So, what was one memorable thing for you during the face-to-face session?
There were a lot.
You can leave them all. We have time.
Okay, on the lighter note, because I was the course rep, so I was in charge of sharing the food, and and I used to flex a lot, especially on God's way.
That was British.
Yes. I think one memorable session was there was this guy that came to introduce gaming. I think he was into the gaming industry. And it was nice to know that as Africans we were creating games, because that was the first time I heard like Africans creating games, and they were using our cultural background, our cultural stories to create the games. And it was amazing to me, because I was like, gaming there, not an African, maybe some years to come, but hearing him and then seeing some stuff they've done, it was exciting to me. And also we had Madam Maud come around, the vice president of ISOC, and she came to share her stories with us. And as a woman hearing her speak, it was just like motivation to me. And it was great hearing her, because she's a great woman. Aside that, also, I was thankful for the in-person training, because I met a lot of great people. Like, there are great people among you, and it's only when you get talking to them that's when you know that these people are great.
To join the global tech justice community. So anything regards to policies, governance within the global space, we try to see the marginalized groups like women, like girls, our rights, and ensure that these are found within the policies that are within the global space, the inclusiveness, trying to ensure that women benefit from the internet, girls, boys, no matter your race, no matter your age. Once you find yourself using the internet, there should be some form of security, some form of protection for you. Then we came to AI. We try to do a research how AI is going to influence election results or democracy. So we did a project. I think it's been launched. I can share that on the platform later. How AI is influencing our democracy and the kind of policies, regulation we need to have around this area. So at the end of the day, we don't have so much negative infiltration in our internet space. Yeah. So
the girls' code you talked about, is it still running?
So now the girls' code has metamorphosed to youth code, because the girls said that why is it that we are empowering only the girls and leaving out the boys? So now we have the youth code. So the youth code, the guys is called bro code, and the girls is called girls code. Yeah.
Isn't that great? It's fair.
And I think one thing I've not told Boss Raymond, Persis said something to you engage. If you need help and you don't engage, you never get help. You will suffer alone. So I was applying for a master's scholarship, and Boss Raymond was the one who did the recommendation for me. I haven't told him that I've gotten the master's scholarship though. So very soon I'll be going to school. If it hadn't been for him, for his writing of the letter, I don't think I'll be here by now. So I'm so grateful to you, Boss Raymond, and always ensuring he always checks up on us. Yes, on our socials. He's trying to see if the internet governance things you've learned, are you really putting it to use? He's always asking questions. And I think that's a selfless leader we always have to appreciate. So let's clap for him again.
To know the organization that what is it about?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So Levy Foundation Youth Alliance for Sustainability. Yes. And we partnered for the Girls Code and a whole lot of. I think 2 months ago we were at Tetteh, GhanaSIG, where we did an SRHR education for some selected students. Just 3 days ago, we're in one village, Obemla, also in the Agotime district, and quite deprived. We went to the school. We went to see the community health center as well. And then we are planning to start some few projects with them as well.
So you do a lot of things. How do you manage your personal work, all these organizations you've set up, engaging within the community?
I mean, it's quite tedious, and my engagement with the community is on and off. There are times where I come in strongly. There are times where I unplug. These days I have unplugged, also because I am serving Love Aid Foundation as the programs director, and Love Aid has is part of a project, a 3-year project which we started last year that is running across whole municipal, together with the municipal assembly, GES. So right now, and you know, a 3-year project of that magnitude would have lots of different activities. Just tomorrow, we are starting season 2 of Why Radio Show, a radio show for young people discussing young people issues at Global 105.1 FM. It's going to be streaming live on Facebook and on X Spaces as well. I'll be dropping the link in the group as well. So right after here, I have to go back to home because Love Aid is leading that activity, and I have to make sure that things are in place. So around this time, I'm quite unplugged from the internet governance ecosystem. But then, you see, so what we teach here is not just something that we apply within the internet governance ecosystem. It is something that we carry across. So, for example, the projects which we started, and 4 different institutions coming together. All institutions have their organizational culture. And so the negotiations, the trade-offs, the fact that you want your organization to stand out. You want it to be known that, yes, for this activity, even though we are a consortium, but for this activity, it is our organization. And you also need to understand the lead organization's point of view. These are things that I took from here, right? The negotiation table, the how to once you come together, and then you are looking at each country having their line of thoughts. These are things that you learn and then you pick and apply. And also, one of the key things that I've always hammered on since coming to the school is the fact that I look at any small thing with a digital angle today, right? So anything that we are doing, I'm seeing how digital, how will it be feasible when we are applying it digitally? How are we helping the people to now adopt digital solutions to make it more easier, right? So these are things that I'm picking from here and applying to all these places. But I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to be at the 2022 IGF with Boss Raymond. Yes. And let me tell you one thing. Boss Raymond is so we call people teachers, right? Jesus Christ is known as the greatest teacher who ever lived. Boss Raymond is a great teacher because he seriously, knowing that this was my first IGF, He literally, and knowing that this was the first time I was traveling outside the country, so from the application to getting your visa straight, making sure. So he'll call me. Have you checked on them? Have they sent you this message? No, when you do this, they have to send you this message. Otherwise, they'll bounce you at the airport to do right. And he took me through. And when we landed in Ethiopia, from the first engagement to the final engagement, he'll direct you what to do. And I mean, come on.
I wanted this is an area that interests my fellows in training very much. I wanted to ask, how was the application process? What did you do differently to get selected?
So the application was funny. So we were applying for a fellowship. Actually, is it internet Democrat? It's something. It has something to do with democracy and then the internet. So it's. I think the company is based in the US, and so for those of us who got the opportunity to go to IGF, IGF, we applied and we failed. Yes, we applied and we failed. And so they had some funding. They had a project that was coming on at the IGF, which was making a closed door input into the Global Digital Compact. And so instead of calling for fresh applications, they said, why not look at those people who applied for the fellowship that we didn't select? So we all got there and we met each other. We are like, no, did you get selected for the fellowship? No. Did you get selected? Oh, so we were all not selected until we met them and then they explained that was what they did. And in fact, this is something I've not done, and this is something I am committing myself. So I'll say it right here, that this year, all the activities that we are going to do, I am going to write a report and then send it to them, because that is a big organization. And I have to, because I have to let them know that whatever investment they made in us, it is working, so that if there are later opportunities, even opportunities for partnership for a project in Ghana here, we can work something out.
Oh, that's fine. Levy, please, if you are still there, can you confirm if you are still there and can hear me?
Yes, I'm back.
Great. So you got selected to participate in the ICANN 80 fellowship, right? Can you tell us the experience? What was the application process? What did you know you did differently, right? Because we just had a session with Miss Serranos and she was saying it's a very tough competition, right? So can you let us know what you did differently to get selected?
I think we made two things. The first one is after GhanaSIG, of course, through Bosre's guidance, I'm now an ALAC rep for my chapter, which is a great opportunity. So based on that, we decided to organize a number of activities in partnership with ICANN. That was the first thing that I did right, which I think was partly included in the application. Then the second thing I did right was having Bosre as one of the referees in the application, which I don't know what he did, but I'm sure that was an addition to it. I should agree with Joshua that Raymond, and I think Princess, Raymond pushes people and is very supportive. So once you engage him and you're actively involved in the space, you're good to go, and your internet governance journey gets to really have a spotlight, and his touch is really good. He's a great teacher. I can agree with Joshua.
Great.
So I think those are the two things that I did right. Being actively involved in ICANN, but also getting consultation from Raymond from time to time is a good addition.
Okay. Our time is almost up, but then I have one question for everybody, and I'll start with Samuel. What advice can you give to us, the fellows still in training, which will be graduating to become full fellows? In how many hours more? Like, what hours more? Two, right? So what advice can you give us? Where do you think we should start our work groups, like community? Where should we look to begin joining these working groups? Any advice for us to proceed? Yeah. So Samuel.
All right. For me, find your interest. That's number one. Find your interest, and based on your interest, be actively involved. I think 2 months ago, I was asking Raymond, say, there are a lot of ICANN related or internet governance related communities and groups. I have an interest. I have a biased interest to internet access. So I asked him, what should I do? Because it's becoming overwhelming. He just told me, focus on your interest. And for any other community that you may be engaged in, still work with your area of interest. And that becomes easier. And since then, I don't think I'm overwhelmed as I was before, because now I know, say, I'm talking about universal acceptance, my focus will still be on internet access. If I'm in the icon spaces, I'm looking for opportunities related to internet access. Anything around the internet governance ecosystem as a whole, whatever niche I find myself or community, I'm still focusing on my area of interest. And that becomes easier to build your visibility, your voice, as well as you taking other different positions in the internet space. So the bottom line is engage, but also focus on your area of interest, and you do better.
Great, thank you, Fosua. You're closing on matters.
So for mine, I don't really have much, considering the fact that let's say a novice or advanced beginner, I can't tell. But then one thing I can say is that although everything is bulky, overwhelming, you can do it one step at a time. Take your time and then do it little by little. And sometimes you get this imposter syndrome of feeling like, hey, maybe I'm doing too much, or am I really fit? Because those thoughts, they keep coming, and then, but I'll just have to say that keep pushing. Maybe in some years to come, I'll have a lot to say, but this is the little I have for you. Thank you
so much, Persis.
Okay. Before I give my final remarks, I would like to say that after GhanaSIG, I went into PAYAG, which is Pan-African Youth Ambassadors for Internet Governance, and there were lots of applications from all over Africa. But fast forward, due to the training from GhanaSIG, Godsway and I were the two selected ambassadors for Ghana, and we had the English cohorts, French, Arabic, and Spanish. And for English, I topped with 96, and then Godsway followed with 95.
Yes.
And and it's all from the training we got from GhanaSIG. And I think along the training line, Mr. Raymond reached out to me and was like, how is the training like? And then I explained to him, he was like, oh, I can do it. So I should just like continue. So he's always there to give you the motivation. Like he's always there to give you the motivation. So to my final remarks, you being here is a blessing. It's a big blessing for you to be here, and so see yourself as that, and whatever opportunity that comes your way, please grab it. It's from one opportunity to the other, to the other, to the other. There are a lot of opportunities in the space, and it's only when you avail yourself that is when you get those opportunities. Some of the opportunities come in the form of volunteerism, and in this space you have to volunteer a lot. The more you volunteer, the more you get opportunities, the more you meet people. Like always volunteer. As far as you have the time and then you have the strength, just avail yourself.
Have been coming in throughout all the resources that has come. Thank you so much, Princess.
Okay, yes. So one has to do with consistency. We all have our strengths and our weakness. So identify where your strengths are and use internet governance like as a basis, like engages in everything that you do. Because internet governance is everywhere. You actually need data to do a lot of things. You need to go on the internet for research and all that. So once you find yourself in your field, you can actually add it up. So in all of your engagements, you mentioned internet governance. I'm known for that in some of our spaces. So once you get the girl is back. And so, like she said, imposter syndrome. But if you are a forward-thinking person and you have a hallmark or you have a blueprint you want to reach, regardless of whatever is going on around you, the limitations, the setback, because you are so focused, there is something you want to achieve, you get it done at the end of the day. And the truth is, a lot of things are going to distract you. But once you are focused, this is an opportunity a lot of people pay for. And you are getting it for free. Can you imagine? It's for free. And at the end of the day, you have certification, different certifications. This is the time you post it on social media, especially on LinkedIn. Yes, some of us actually sign deals on LinkedIn, but a lot of young people don't use that platform. But this is one of the greatest platforms. Talk about it. Some of us, we just give some short thing. Sometimes you need to explain concepts. LinkedIn lies those explanation of concepts. Then they'll see that, you are a serious person. And they start engaging you. So how you put yourself out there also determine the kind of people you attract. So if you are a lazy person, of course, you attract lazy people. The seed you sow, that is what you reap. So if you really want to take this, the extra mile, you need to do the extra work. And like Boss Raymond that we are seeing there, he wasn't just sleeping. He was always up and doing. If you have to spend sleepless nights to get things done, you have to do it, because the more you procrastinate, like the more you postpone your future, like the sustainable future you want to see. So Boss Raymond and the team have done their part. Now it's left with you to do your part. And at the end of the day, if you do it well, everyone is going to share in your glory.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was a solid input. Joshua, please end that.
Yes, strategize. That's what I'll say. The space is big. It's like being thrown into the sea, in the middle of the sea, with no life jacket on. So strategize. See what you are good at. Start with that. The things that interest you, start with that. Don't just see every meeting and say, I want to jump into it. You might be overwhelmed. If you just want to go and then listen, fine. But like, oh, I want to participate in this working group. Oh, that working group, you will be overwhelmed and then you just crawl back into your shell. So yes, it's true. It's very true. So strategize and then think broadly. Look at the applications, right? Today, a friend of mine, or let me say, so some months ago, a friend of mine who is an AI lead at Haptel called me that he discovered a vector database, which is actually an open source material, right? Software. And then he used it to create the Constitution GH. He told me the second day, the following day, Lovia, someone just called Lovia from Accra, I think a national coordinator on the SDGs platform, called Lovia from Accra. Do you know some people who can build an app working on this thing, HIV and AIDS, SRHR and stuff? Like, yeah, we can do it. So Lovia tells me, I'm like, okay. I just called Daniel. And then, okay, this is what Constitution GH is doing. The applications are limitless. And we've encoded over 600 and something pages of HIV material from Ghana into the database, right? So that when you query the information, it gives you HIV information, Ghana specific, right? Using generative AI. Now, someone will say, why don't I go and use ChatGPT? ChatGPT is running on the internet. The internet is biased. As and down, only 5% of Africa's stories are on that thing called the free encyclopedia. So imagine the ones that are not free. Only 5% of Africa. In fact, there's much information on Antarctica where nobody lives. Only country colonizes Antarctica, which is the biggest desert in the world, right? There is much information on that than on Africa. Yes. And so begin to look at the applications, how you can vary your applications, right? Think beyond the obvious. Let the internet governance ecosystem speak your innovation so that when we meet at the IGF, we are not just talking about the age-old situation about internet shutdowns, even though that is important, but we are moving forward to young people in different parts of the ICANN systems and then applying them in different ways in which were never thought possible. This is how we develop. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Be strategic. Okay, now. Yes, please.
Please, a short announcement. So Ghana Statistical Service has launched the Multi-Dimensional Poverty Index and the Stats Bank. There is a whole lot of data on internet, on smartphone usage within young people. There is so much data that we can use for proposal to make informed decisions to attract funding from the global space. So please, Multi-Dimensional Poverty Index. I'll share it on the platform, and Stats Bank. So statsbank.gov, yes, from Ghana Statistical Service. And there is so much information there on your local area, the community you are coming from, the district you are coming from. There is so much data on it we can make good use of.
Thank you so much. I don't know if there's time to take question and answers, but if there is not, I'll hand over to Ms. Carey. Thank you very much. Any other people want to ask a question?
I must confess that the question is not directly related to GhanaSIG, but I still have to ask it. So I'm back to my country. I'm coming from Benin. I'm part of a scholarship program. I'm a Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program alumni now, and it deals with leadership and all that. And when we talk about leadership, I have some initiatives to launch, but when you start thinking about it, at the end of the day, we put it aside. And what I noticed in Anglophone countries, it's like you guys are doing great things, and I'm always inspired by what you are doing. Hearing from you, you are part of many organizations. So I want to hear from your stories. I mean, tips or secrets that help you guys to, like, when you are starting an initiative, you are going through it and moving forward despite the barriers and all that. Thank you.
Good.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Thank you very much. So thank you, Persis. Yeah. So this question goes to Joshua. So with regards to your application, because you are a JSS leaver, I don't know the criteria the EGIGFA team uses, because I think looking at the various questions, there's a LinkedIn, you have to put your LinkedIn profile there. I don't know.
Yeah.
So looking at your level, what motivated you? Because it's very competitive. Only 53 out of 400 and something applicants.
Yeah.
So what motivated you to think that, okay, if you apply, you get the fellowship?
Sure. So I left junior high school in 2007. I tried to write WASI, but like I said, I'm not technical, so WASI is not for me. It's for the Shakos. So my first time trying, I think I get 30, and I decided I'll not write again. So I started self-developing, right? And by 2021, when I was applying, I've had close to 8 years project management experience under my belt. I was, at the time, the Volta regional leader of the PLO Lumumba Foundation, right? The Volta regional chapter lead. We have the Ghana, right? I got the appointment in 2019. So I was already acting even more than, and putting knowledge to use even more than graduates. I would attend conference instead of my boss and be eating with ministers and MPs, and we'll be talking about the country. We'll be discussing Ghana's problem together. And it is they just assume you are one of them because of the level of engagement. When they came to sit there and they were speaking, you didn't take it as face value. You had already done your research, right? So you were quoting them with World Bank figures, quoting them with Ghana Statistical Service figures that they didn't even know. Do you get what I mean? So that alone had improved my self-confidence to that level. Right now, I am done with my Google project management. My next step is to go for the PMI course, the professional project management course. And then from there, go ahead and then do my master's. So the level of confidence there, it did there. It did.
Thank you very much. for having the time to come and speak with us. We greatly appreciate it. So, yeah, done.